On behalf of the Ministry of Environment, I have great pleasure in welcoming you to the inauguration of the two fixed ambient air monitoring station. With the fast pace of development taking place in Mauritius, monitoring of our air quality has become a priority. To prevent the degradation of our air quality, it is of utmost importance to control the level of air pollutants. As enforcing agency for air, our ministry carries out its monitoring through the National Environmental Laboratory. So far, ambient air has been monitored through mobile stations and portable gas analyzers at established hotspots and during environmental emergencies. There is actually no long-term air monitoring data at residential areas to properly evaluate the level of pollutants in different regions of the island. Air pollution consists of both particulate and gaseous contaminants. Small and fine particulates are known to be more harmful to health. Measurements of these particulates are considered to be good indicators of the level of health risks associated with air pollution. Ladies and gentlemen, today with the inauguration of the two stations, the Ministry will be able, as a starting point, to monitor fine particulate matter on a continuous basis in Port-Louis and in Vacqua. Provision for enough space has been made in the stations for additional analyzers such as sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and oxides of nitrogen. For your information, long-term data from such stations have proved to be crucial for taking necessary measures for safeguarding the health of citizens in many countries such as Réunion Island, Japan, UK, and France. With this inauguration, we are therefore taking a firm step to ensure a sustainable air quality for our future generations. I seize this opportunity to express my gratitude to all authorities concerned who have provided the valuable support in the implementation of this project. Thank you for your attention. I will now invite Mr. Menka, Director of the Mauritius Meteorological Services, to address you. Mr. Menka, please.
It's a pleasure to welcome you at the Met Services in this very eco-friendly environment on the occasion of the inauguration of the fixed ambient air monitoring station. As you are all aware, clean air is considered to be a basic requirement of human health and well-being. And air pollution is a major environment health concern affecting both in developed and developing countries, as outdoor air pollution consists of particulate and gaseous pollutants. In Mauritius, with sustained economic development, changes in consumption and production patterns have contributed to the release of pollutants in the atmosphere. Also, measures such as upgrading of fuel quality or promulgation of regulations have been taken to improve air quality, yet we have to remain very vigilant and continuously measure its quality. Hence, the Ministry of Environment embarked on a very laudable project to set up fixed ambient air monitoring stations, and the Met Services is deeply honored to host one of them in its premises. The observations obtained would help the Ministry to establish trends of air quality around the island and to identify signs of degradation for timely remedial actions by the government to safeguard the health of our fellow citizens. It is good to note that a memorandum of understanding was signed by the Ministry of Environment, which was represented by the PS Mr. Umaga Jadu and the MMS by myself in February 2015. In that MOU, the scope of cooperation between these two institutions were clearly spelled out for the proper implementation of this project. the Ministry of Environment agreed to bear all the expenses, including pay its own electricity and water bills. The Met Services gave on lease a well-exposed plot of land in its premises for an initial period of 5 years, and which is renewable if needs be. We agreed to extend all facilities required, including existing security service, on a 24/7 basis. There is also a scope of data sharing from this project. Likewise, the Met Services would obtain wind speed and wind direction on a daily basis, and data for dust on a monthly basis. This project is just reinforcing our existing close ties with the Ministry of Environment. As you are all aware, on the 7th of this month, an early warning system for incoming storm surge has been established at the Met Services by the Ministry of Environment through funds made available from the Adaptation Fund Board, with the expertise of the Delta Res from Poland. At the end of this month, one officer from this service will join other colleagues from the Ministry of Environment for a 2 weeks advanced training on the early warning system on storm surge at the seat of Delta Res in Poland. There is also another joint project which is going on, namely about rainwater collecting. We at the Met Services do collect rainwater samples on a monthly basis, and these are sent to the National Environmental Laboratory of the Ministry of Environment at Inauguration deux for isotopes analysis. These are also sent by the Met Services together with monthly meteorological parameters of precipitation, air temperature, vapor pressure, and relative humidity to the IAE. IAE is International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna, Austria. It's good to note that since 1974, the Republic of Mauritius is also one of the members of the IAE out of 164 member states as at March 2015. This project, which is operated since 1960, is called the Global Network for Isotopes in Precipitation, GNIP, and falls under the IAE WMO. It is comprised of observation stations around the world, including Mauritius. The online database is available on the internet portal. It's http://www.iae.org.water. So if you go there on that website, you will see Mauritius, and you can get access to this data if you get the password. I wish to thank wholeheartedly Mr. Dayal and his whole team at the Ministry of Environment, and not to forget the project coordinator, Mr. Ashwin Dosia, for making this child's dream come true. To conclude, I would encourage all ministries, departments, and various institutions to collaborate fully in such joint projects for the betterment of our Mauritian society. Together, we can achieve wonders for the Republic of Mauritius. Thank you.
We have His Worship the Mayor in our midst, Mr. Hamsunga. I'm pleased to have also the Director of Met, his deputy, and all the staff. And also my very good friend, former Honorable Minister of the Environment, which I was to impress upon, who is not only dedicated to environmental issues, but he is very much concerned as far as the welfare of the nation is concerned. So I salute him here with a special salute, because he's really a very committed man. So Mr. Luton has also agreed for placing our second equipment in ICC in Pokwe. How can I not refer to Mr. Doshia, Mr. Bagawali, and the whole team of our lab setup, NEL, under the leadership of our Director of the Environment, Mr. Ning. And also I found that we have Vidula Dasai in our midst from the Forensic Lab, and also all the good friends from various sectors here present. It is good that you are here, because what we are doing today is we are inaugurating an equipment which will be of great use for us to ensure that we are dealing with sustainable development at a level where we didn't have that capacity before. So I am pleased to be amongst you this afternoon for the inauguration of 2 fixed ambient air monitoring stations, one here in Vakwa, and the second one in Pokwe, in the compound of the Islamic Cultural Center, to continuously monitor the levels of particulate matter in our ambient air to ensure a good breathing air quality. At the outset, let me thank wholeheartedly the Mauritius Medical Services, the Director and his staff, and the ICC, here represented by Mr. Luton, and the Managing Committee, who have agreed to provide my ministry space in the compound for the setting up of the stations. I wish to point out that surveys were carried out by experts of my ministry in the region of Vakwa and Pokwe for identifying the appropriate sites for the fixed stations. The 2 sites were selected since they satisfy the siting criteria set by the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, clean air is considered to be a basic requirement of human health and well-being. However, outdoor air pollution is a major environmental health concern affecting everyone in developed and developing countries alike. And here I salute the presence of our PPS, Mr. Toussaint. More than 3 million premature deaths which occur each year can be attributed to the effects of urban air pollution worldwide. More than half of this disease burden is borne by the population of developing countries. Researchers had focused mainly on particulate matter, also known as particle pollution or PM, is a complex mixture of extremely small particles and liquid droplets. Very fine particulate matter are commonly known as PM10 and PM2.5. The effect of inhaling particulate matter have been widely studied in humans and animals. These particles can stay for a long period in the atmosphere and can remain suspended for weeks. They are known to penetrate deep into the lungs, thereby increasing risk of pulmonary diseases such as lung cancer, cardiovascular diseases, cerebral damages, premature delivery, birth defects, and premature deaths. Particulate matter pollution had caused 3.22 million premature deaths in 2010 and 3.7 million premature deaths in 2012. Globally, particulate matter exposures in many countries worldwide today are often very high. For instance, certain regions of India and China exceeds 100 microgram per meter cube particulate matter, i.e. well above the 24-hour World Health Organization guideline for PM10, which is 50 microgram per meter cube. As you know, Beijing is one of the most polluted cities on the planet, so much so that researchers from the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences declared it to be almost uninhabitable for human beings. But still, people are living there. They have no choice. In a research study, moreover, in September 2014, Mongolia reported that a 45% increase in the rate of respiratory illness has been recorded in the past 5 years. More recently, Paris imposed a partial driving ban, and made public transport free in an attempt to cut noxious smog after a strong prevalence of PM10 particles in the atmosphere. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure no one in Mauritius would like our children to live in this situation in the future. At least, I'm not going to spare any effort for this same to happen. Fortunately, our monitoring carried out so far for PM10 are in the range of 14 to 24 microgram per meter cube, as 24-hour average, i.e. well below the World Health Guideline, which is 50 microgram per meter cube. Not even 50%. So we are doing very well indeed, and we have to continue on this track. As I mentioned earlier, clean air is a prerequisite for human well-being and a better quality of life. However, as Mauritius becomes a more industrialized, urbanized, and densely populated nation, maintaining a good ambient air quality becomes a challenge indeed. As an isolated island state, Mauritius is not directly affected by transboundary air pollution, but air quality is affected locally by anthropogenic sources such as industrial activities, transportation, electricity generation, and occasional sugarcane burning during the harvest season. The industries which sustain the growing economy also add to the pollution load and impact on ambient air quality. Localized air pollution has been recorded from manufacturing industries in the several regions of Mauritius, and which are described as industrial hotspots. We are going to have such improvement there as well. The transport sector in Mauritius contributes largely to air emissions, especially black smoke emissions from diesel-driven vehicles. Let me give you the good news. We are opting for the acquisition of 100 buses motorized through batteries that are electricity based. They will be carrying about 100 passengers, and in terms of emission control, quality of air, it will be a big leap forward for Mauritius. My colleague is actually studying all the input. The vehicle will cost around 8 to 9 million rupees, and we are seeking grant for that. We are going to use 100 such buses on a trial basis, and subsequently we are going to go for more. But the payback, it's good you know that. The payback is within 5 years, and the economic gain, you'll be surprised, it's more than 400 million.
Can start it in Baba.
And the buses, their lifespan is 25 years. So we are leapfrogging, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the legendary leadership of our Prime Minister, Sir General. As I said, The increase in income and standard of living has driven up both vehicles ownership and energy use, thus increasing traffic on roads, more congestion and higher vehicular emissions. And here I must tell you that we are not going to allow dumping of vehicles in Mauritius. Second-hand vehicles. Will be coming forward with legislation for that. But my ministry will shortly be having an electric vehicle. So we'll be having more electric vehicle on our roads. Also measures such as upgrading of fuel quality or the promulgation of regulations have been taken to improve air quality. We have to remain very vigilant and continuously improve our air quality by a whole range of measures. And as I said, first is the acquisition of smart green electric buses and cars, and equally we are going for green energy in terms of waste to energy, together with the state-of-the-art technology. Instead of using burners with the capacity of 45 bars, we are going for about 90 bars, which means increase in output of electricity. And the question of blackout won't be there, because we have got 4 transfer stations that will produce something like 12 gigawatt per electricity, clean electricity with no carbon emission and no residual pollutants. And in Marshicos, we'll be producing about 15 gigawatt hour electricity, just to give you indication of where we are heading. We are reducing our coal to something like 20% in 2 years. We are importing 160,000 tons of coal, and we are going to use biomass. And for the first time in the history of Mauritius, we are going to use the leaves of the sugarcane, which have got a commercial value. Planters will have more money. In order to curb down the number of diesel-driven vehicles emitting black smoke, the Police de l'Environnement of my ministry, along with other stakeholders, are taking necessary actions to curb down vehicular emissions. The road traffic control of vehicle emissions regulations have been amended, where the penalty fine has been raised from 1,000 to 10,000, a real deterrent. Police de l'Environnement is effecting regular roadside checks, and this year, as at to date, 1,739 contraventions have been established. We are also encouraging bus and vehicle owners to take actions at source and ensure that their vehicles meet the required standards. In addition to the 2 fixed stations, we have set up the National Environment Lab, which is equipped with mobile ambient air monitoring stations that measures particulate and gaseous contaminants in ambient air as required under the Environment Protection Standard for Air Regulations. These stations monitor air quality, especially at hotspots, for appropriate enforcement measures to be taken. For example, the recent problem we had at Filau. And here I commend the officers of my lab for their very speedy response in reassuring the 600 workers. I think it's for the first time in the history of Mauritius. And the Prime Minister was very pleased to learn that as a government, we responded very fast in securing a working environment for the good of our workers who are, as I said in the press conference, who are producing wealth for the nation. In this endeavor, several mechanisms have been set up in place as per the provisions of the Environment Protection Act 2002. These include, first, because many people say, what are we doing? What is this government doing? First, air quality standards, that is ambient air, stack emission standards, have been proclaimed in 1998 under the Environment Protection Standard for Air Regulations 1998. It makes provision for maximum limits of pollutants in our ambient air quality, such as sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, lead, ozone and carbon monoxide, and also set maximum limit of pollutant emissions from factories. We are taking remedial measures in the general area where we have our treatment plant near Bamboo, where I must say we are producing compost of the highest quality, and where we are reducing the level of emission of the same. Second, the environment protection, and I've visited the place 2 days back. The environment protection standard for air regulations 1998 is currently being reviewed to align our ambient air and emission standards with the latest guidelines as per the World Health Organization and the World Bank. Provision is also being made to control air emission from incinerators. Third, this is why for the project of waste to energy, we are coming with the state-of-the-art equipment where there will be very little emission as far as carbon emission is concerned. Third, even the amount that is going out will be controlled. The development control mechanism, such as environment impact assessment and preliminary environment report, whereby proponents are required to provide measures that they intend to take to curb down the environmental pollution, including air pollution, so that the proposed development fully complies with the environmental standards. Fourth, post-EIA/PER monitoring mechanism, where the conditions imposed in the EIA license/PER approval are monitored to ensure that potential adverse impacts caused, including air emissions, are adequately mitigated, thereby safeguarding the environment during the whole life cycle of the project by using clean and green technologies. Fifth, the Industrial Waste Audit IWA regulations 2008 enable industries to adopt a systematic approach for performing a full inventory of their waste. This allows them to develop a culture of self-compliance to environmental standards. In some areas, this forces them to adopt good housekeeping and promote cleaner production. In case of non-compliance to the above mechanism, appropriate enforcement actions are initiated against the polluters so as to remedy the situation. Friends of the environment, you will certainly all agree that we need a cleaner, greener and safer Mauritius. As you are aware, our government, under the leadership of Sam Jagnat, has come up with a smart cities concept tailored by Honorable Vishnu Raju, fitted with a whole range of smart ecological measures which will ensure a pollution-free environment. We want to be known as a nation which has progressed economically without jeopardizing our delicate ecosystem and our precious natural resources, including air. To breathe clean air in our beautiful island is our birthright. As Minister of Environment, I will therefore ensure that this fundamental right is safeguarded. We take this noble mission as enforcing agency for air quality very, very seriously and use the best available techniques available in the national interest. As mentioned earlier, in our endeavor to deliver a high standard service to the nation, a network of fixed ambient air monitoring stations will be established to continuously monitor real-time air quality data across the island in areas where there is human exposure, example, residential, commercial areas and roadsides. Our scientists at the National Environmental Laboratory will regularly analyze, interpret the data and check compliance of the particulate matter levels with the permissible limits of our ambient air quality standards prescribed under our Environment Protection Act 2008. The data obtained will also be useful for government to take timely measures to avoid degradation in our air quality and thus safeguard the health of our citizens. In short, will ensure the safety, security and health of our citizens. Today, we are inaugurating our first 2 modern fixed ambient air monitoring stations, one in Vatwa and one in Portway, acquired at a total cost of around 10 million rupees. These 2 stations are going to be our urban background ambient air monitoring stations. Results from these stations will be representative of the average exposure of the local inhabitants to excessive air pollutants, in this case particulate matter. All the results will be transmitted via a modem to the National Environment Lab, whereby scientific officers will validate and interpret the results diligently and religiously. The results will be communicated to stakeholders and the public in general on the website of my ministry to avoid the situation we had during the fire in Saint-Pierre and the problem we had in Portway, which there. I wish to point out that provision has been made in the present budget for a third fixed station. Eventually, we'll try to have more stations at appropriate regions around the island so as to be able to have a comprehensive average quality of air level island-wide. I hope that with your collaboration, we will always be able to maintain or even improve our air quality. And here I must express my grateful thanks to the Director of the Met Services for his very, very good support at all levels as far as disaster management is concerned and as far as making sure that we initiate response in a timely manner whenever there is a crisis situation. So thank you very much, Mr. Mangra. And I would like to thank also all those stakeholders who make it to a point whenever we have a crisis situation to collaborate. And you have in mind the fire services, wastewater management officers, and a whole gamut of officers who work in close collaboration with Mr. Dosia and his team. And this is the type of commitment and organizational strengths that we require to take Mauritius one step further, as the Prime Minister is actually planning for the next economic miracle. Economic miracle will be only possible if we deal with all the challenges that we have to deal in a comprehensive, holistic and very proactive manner. Thank you for your attention. May God bless you, and let's go to see the equipment now. Thank you.